Hey, welcome back to another exciting week of YOML, a year of magical learning. Today we're on book 107, and I'll keep the reflection title and make Chris do it.
Welcome back. Excited to be back. It's always a fun time to have a great conversation with you. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. The book that we're going to be talking about today is called The Montessori Toddler, A Parent's Guide to Raising a Curious and Responsible Human Being by the author Simone Davies. I picked up this book because we have a toddler, and I like the whole Montessori methodology in general for education. Are you familiar with the Montessori? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So for anybody that's not familiar out there with it, it's based off of the teachings of the educator named Dr. Maria Montessori. That's very much so like getting kids a specific environment where they can learn on their own. They can explore on their own, but you kind of put them in a box of your creation. So, they're not necessarily unlimited to do whatever they want to do, but they're given a framework that they can go do anything they want to go do within. So it's not necessarily you're going to learn math today. We're going to sit down and do your multiplication tables. It's like we'll give you things you can go explore all over the place and you can go figure out what you want to learn, basically. So it's more self-guided learning, I think, is kind of the gist of it for the most part. It's kind of more, I think it's more humanistic approach to learning, because that's how we typically learn. I don't think that we, learn in such formal settings very well personally, but that was what's developed over time, probably because it was easier for society. But like, do you have any thoughts about the whole Montessori, world before we dive into it?
Yeah, I love that concept. I think I wish I would have been, you know, placed in such kind of environment when I was growing up.
Honestly, we've been trying to make the reason why I read this book. I read this one with my wife, and it helps you to kind of understand the Montessori methodology a little bit and how you can make your home a little bit more structured and the stuff that you do with your own kids a little bit more Montessori-esque. So one of the things that we did in our house actually was we turned all the shelves that were 3 feet and below kind of thing into like kids' play shelves because
Mhm.
he was going in and taking out all the decorations and all the little knickknacks, which I'm sure your kids always did as well.
Right.
We just put them all in the storage bin and we replace them all with his toys and we change them out all the time. So he has like little toys that he can go pick it up and explore. I mean, his favorite damn thing to do is to open up every cabinet anyway and pull out everything and just start chucking stuff. So we were like, look, if you're gonna do it, you might as well just do it for toys. So it's been pretty cool actually. He just walks over to the shelves and he throws everything off and plays with them, and we put it back up there, and now he's stacking his own stuff back up there. So
Right.
yeah, it's been a fun experience. But that said, on with the reflection. The reflection title was for this particular book that this made me think of is I want to be a Montessori adult. So this a lot of this reflection is about just kind of my ideas on education in general. So for my personal entire life up until I met Amelia, I don't want to say that I had a weird relationship with learning. I love learning, but I also only ever saw it as like a formal setting thing. It was always either work trainings or college courses or high school or whatever, the more of the formal education setting where you had homework, you had projects to do, you had all this, whatever crap you had to accomplish to be able to get a grade or whatever thing you had to accomplish. And I did it. Like, don't get me wrong, like I did it and I did it well and I always got good grades. But what I always really looked forward to was playing after I was done. Like it was like, oh, thank God I can get this stupid thing done that I don't want to do, but now I can go play right afterwards, right? That was always what made me so excited when I was a kid. And I got in trouble a lot because I would get my work done really fast and I would get good grades, but then I would get yelled at because I was disrupting other people and whatever. And like I was some sort of I'm not like a problem child, but they told my mom, obviously I was a problem child, right? Like if he didn't smile all the damn time and get good grades, we'd probably have ground and put him in detention all day long, but he does, and he does. So we let it slide, but like it's disruptive, and I was always like, it's just me. I just want to go play, like, what do you want? Anyway, so as time went on for me, I feel like my relationship toward education got a little worse. It became like the idea of learning to me became like an event. It's like, man, I really got to gear up for this 3 day seminar or this semester long class and this term paper that I got to go cram in for. I would get all the Red Bulls that I possibly could. When we had a 16-page case study ready to be done, I would go to the library at 7 o'clock at night and not walk out until 6 a.m. kind of thing, and then just crash the rest of the day. And I mean, that stuff's exhausting. Like thinking of learning that way, and every time I would think of it, that would be where my thought would go. Right? It's like this is just exhausting. Like I'll do it because I have to, but like this isn't fun. So as time went on, and my education, the things that I learned in general became less and less, unless it wasn't like something that was thrown in my face, through human interaction, and I had to learn on the job kind of learning stuff. I mean, the only for fun learning that I did was maybe like listen to a podcast every now and then, or like maybe watch a documentary or something along those lines. But it was sporadic at best, and it was, I don't know. There was no rhyme or reason. It was just like, I'm a little bored. I was going to listen to this podcast or something like that, right? So that all really changed for me personally after obviously Amelia was born, and our whole crazy experience that we all had together as a family. And as you've seen this whole entire journey with me, one of the things that happened after we lost her was I was really confused. I had a lot of questions, and there wasn't some seminar to go to of, hey, you just lost your child, like here's a course, you can go take or whatever. I'm sure that maybe there is out there, but like, I mean, if there is, like, that's a joke, right? Because I mean, grief is whatever it is for everybody. So, I had so many questions and no answers and nobody to really turn to about these kind of things. So I started exploring on my own. That exploration led to where we are today, really, a lot of ways. That's kind of the kickstart of the magical learning experience. And fast forward when I wrote this reflection a few months back, I was probably already 200 books into this whole entire journey. For me, I've discovered along the way that learning's a hell of a lot of fun. And not only is it a hell of a lot of fun, but I get to do it with my daughter. I get to do it in alignment with my purpose and my values, and it feels really good. So, I mean, not gonna lie, if some company or a school or an institution asked me to read 200 plus books and write a reflection on each one of them and then do a podcast for it, I would be like, I don't know how fast I would run away, but I would run away as fast as I possibly could in the other direction. I'd be like, I'm not doing that. That's insane. Like, I mean, I'm, but when it's aligning with what I want to do and go exploring the stuff that I want to explore, it feels effortless. Learning really is truly a joy. So sum it all up, I feel like, this year magical learning journey is kind of like being a Montessori adult. So something that, the big lesson I took from this is like, you can learn. It doesn't matter if you're an adult or a kid or whatever environment you're in. I mean, you have the ability to go be curious, learn what you want to learn, and explore the world around you, no matter how old you are, and you should never stop learning. So be a free range adult. And that's it. That was my thought on this one. So I'd love to pause there, get your thoughts.
I mean, I really love the concept of the Montessori workplace. As Dr. Montessori pioneered this concept, whether you're a child or an adult, when you're human after all, we have to want to explore. That's the joy of being a human, is to be able to explore, right?
Yeah.
And like if somebody were to ask me, read 200 books and do a podcast on it, the first thing would come to my mind is, okay, what kind of books are we talking about? And then what kind of things do I talk about on it, right? The problem with that is that big because we are conditioned and trained to do things that we don't want to do because, for whatever reason, everybody wants you to do the same thing, right? And it's as if we are a machine, as if we have the same interests, as if we have the same skills, as if we have the same talent. So you go to school, right? Everybody say, hey, you do the same thing. Whatever it is, standardized test, oh, you have low IQ. What the hell is that low IQ means, right? I mean, the IQ is whoever say, okay, because I went this path, I'm going to say, if you can follow my path correctly and closely, then
you have high IQ.
You are really high IQ. So, so imagine if a sloth, go back to the school with a bunch of animals again. Imagine if a sloth made the test. Then if you're not a sloth-like, then you're not very high IQ per the test, right? If you have an elephant made the test, then if you don't have a high IQ, that means just different from the elephant. But the thing is, people frown upon you because you are not conforming to the masses.
Now, if you're not conforming to the masses, we say there's something wrong with you, and here's a pill, go fix it.
You have to conform, otherwise you are not. Just like, if you're good at what you do, right, if you have good grades because you did something, you understood something faster, and then the rest of the class is still trying to struggle, but you still have to sit there and like can't do anything. You have to slow down to be with the class who is slow.
Right.
So you can't be, and then they call you disruptive. You call you the troublemaker because I finished my task and I'm doing something else. I'm doing things that
I wanted to do,
right?
I know.
But the thing is, you're being said, hey, no, that's bad. So you've been conditioned to throw away your identity and
Yeah.
to put on a mask. That's why a lot of people on earth right now is living somebody else's life. It's not their life that they're living. They're living
Right.
somebody else's life. To say that because they are doing exactly what society tells them, this is how you should be. This is how you should behave. This is how you should act. This is how you should present yourself. And that's, to me, that's the travesty of all this. I mean, just like, hey, Chris, you and I are exactly alike. You and I have the exact same DNA. We have exact same interests. What's fun to you is also fun to me. That
sucks.
that is the doctrine that everybody say, hey, that's the way the world works, and
Right.
millions and billions of you have to conform to the same standards, same ideals, and whatever. And who create the ideals? Well, just some idiot that say, hey, I decided how I float throughout my life. That's the path, and I document the path now. Everybody should follow. So to me, that's a travesty of it, and to me, it's just so much. It feels like a chore when you have to do some of these things. I mean, for me, it's like I mentioned from the beginning. I wish I was put into this environment when I was early, because early in my youth, right, I am a rebellious kind of kid. I don't like to learn, right? I don't like to learn. So the thing is, people say I'm pretty much a dumb kid. That kid is like, hey, the kid you left behind in school. And the thing is, because of that, people would label me as this, dumb or stupid. Everything I had to do was a chore, and I always rebel against the things I do. And that's why up until college, even beyond that, I didn't learn a lot. Just because for me, doing the learning was a reminders of these drudgery in my head about the things that I just hated to do. So I don't do them. But it turns out, after college and when I start to explore, and even after I met you, I realized that I really love to learn. So, right. And so that is so sad, as I miss out on so much of my years of exploration. Because the thing is, it's the same thing that you and I did. It's like I was so rebellious against the institutions and all the things that people made me do. But I go and explore everything. Man, I'm very hands-on, right? I touch things. I can take whatever I see, I can copy it really fast, right? I was a troublemaker because I go out there and I will break stuff. Like I would, whatever it is, I'll break it, right? Because the thing is, I'm so curious. But that's the thing is, I was a troublemaker when I was growing up. I was a bad kid. I was the dumb kid, right? In school, like in my country, right? I have no future. Like in my country, it's like you have to adhere to all these rules and regulations and whatnot. If you do that, then you have high grades and whatnot. And then if you don't, then you would rank, last in your class and you don't get to graduate. But for me, is I always do things that is like, I don't care if anyone's doing it. I'm rebel against the institutions. I rebel against any kind of structure.
Isn't that just natural human tendencies
to
say, like,
to
we're 90% chimp, right? I mean, like, we're very individualistic and creative, beings in general. To make us all be little bees, like you said, the sloth of the school, to look at all the tigers and lions and giraffes sitting around there and being like, all right, everybody, we're all going to be penguins, and we're all like, fine.
I think everybody has some sort of individualistic view on that, and they want to be unique and they want to explore their own interests. The problem is that some of us are much smarter. And when we're smarter, we say, well, I have to be considerate. So I acquiesce, I'll follow the rule. And that's the problem. Right?
Yeah, you're right.
I was so dumb that I didn't even think about it. I don't care. I don't care if it makes my parent mad. I don't care if it brings shame to my household. The thing is, I don't know enough to affect me. But if you have a smart kid, right? Say, yeah, well, I don't want my parents to be ashamed of me. Sometimes, like you say, it's ignorance is bliss in some cases. And
you were not dumb. You were dumb in terms of what society may have said. Then maybe yes, but in reality, obviously, you're the same person as you were before. So you were never dumb. you just weren't doing what you wanted to do. Like, I mean, like this, it's sad. You know what the saddest thing is corporate America isn't much different than,
It's actually worse.
it's worse. I mean, they don't even pretend to train you for anything other than, or at least education gives you a more balanced, well-rounded, I don't know, corporate America is like, they just stop teaching you. They're like, screw it, I don't care. The only thing you're going to learn is what we need you to learn for this job.
In corporate America, they're just going to try to squeeze as much out of you to make the profit as much as possible. So long as you can get them those profit and squeeze all the sweat and tears and blood out of you,
Man, it's so depressing to think about sometimes how much, like you said, like I love to learn, like I really do, and I've always loved to learn, but it was like it sucked the life out of me to do it the way that other people told me to do it. Like here's the funny thing is, like I was just right before this, I'm taking this like leadership development course or whatever through Salesforce or whatever. So they have all these like classes, you do online classes, and we get together as a discussion group to talk about it and blah 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 blah. Well, I love the discussion groups because they're fun, open conversations with my peers. I hate the online assessments where they give you a scenario and then you have to pick from like 4 or 5 different choices. So Steve did this, like, how should you handle blah, blah, blah. And then they'll rank your score or whatever. And I'm like, I actually get physically mad because I'm like, there is no right answer to this question. Exactly. I don't care. Like, I mean, it blows my mind to even think that somebody was like, there needs to be 5 choices to fucking put on this thing that I'm teaching you, like, this is the right way to be, and I'm like, no, like, I mean, it could be anything. The answer is Steve and I leave the job for 2 months and we go take a sabbatical and we go, wander around the world together, find an answer and come back or something. I don't know. Like, it is wrong. I mean,
the sad part is that it is how leadership are being made. If you somehow score like closely to however this person made up the test, then you shall be this leader, the potential leader. Right. You handle conflict well or whatever. It's like, if somebody spit on your mother's face, what should you do? A, I think about it, that he has a bad day. B, maybe he didn't understand.
Right.
C, you punch him in the face, and then B, you sit him down and you
talk about the consequences and explain the why. Yeah, I mean,
bunch of bullshit like that. It's like, if you do that, I'll punch you in the face, right? And I will make sure that you will never even have the thought of doing it again, right? It will send you back to the days when, there is no way out. I mean, I would send your thought into the black hole. Right. That's how I would do it, right? And if I were to say that, right, then I'm the guy who is the crazy psychos out there. Exactly. But if you say, he has a bad day, I need to sit him down and talk to him and give him candy, make sure he does, whatever this bullshit. I'll give him therapy. Back in the 70s, right? People don't need therapy. I mean, you're talking about people like die in concentration camps. People get tortured. They don't need therapy. But for some reason, you need therapy just because, hey, I think somebody said something bad about me. I need therapy. And that's the saddest part. It's like, you're turning these people into these.
You do need therapy. It's called learning. Go learn something. Like, go find your answers. When you feel depressed, that means you have a lot of questions, right? You have a lot of questions building up inside of you. When you feel lost, that means you have.
I think if you are depressed, you are lost because you're doing things that is not yours.
And you have questions that are building up that you just turn off. Like, I'm
because
stuck.
you are numb. You are numb to this thing. It's like, let's say, okay, true, Chris, I need you to each read 200 books and put together a podcast, right? But none of the books is what the books I like, and none of the talking points is what I want to talk about. Then I become numb, and then becomes a chore and a drudge.
If you gave me an assignment after each one of these and said, what did you learn about the Montessori toddler? And I was like, I don't know, this. And they're like, no, that's not the answer. The answer is this, or this, and I'm like, no, I learned that I want to be a Montessori adult. And they're like, no,
that's wrong.
You're supposed to learn here. It is either this, or this. And you're like, well, this is boring. I don't care anymore.
You do it, the more depressed you will be.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's just
like depression. Depression is whenever you're doing something that you're living someone else's life.
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't matter what we do. I mean, the thing is, a lot of things that interest us has nothing to do with money, fame, or anything like that. You just do because like it's the right fitting thing that you're made to do.
Right.
So for me, it's like when you are depressed, it's when you are doing something that has no interest. You have no interest in. And that's the bad part, because no one in society is advocating the Montessori workplace. There is
No.
a Montessori for a kid, but like you're talking about a very young kid, even after the Montessori age of, under, I think it's like under teen, right? It's not teen, it's like under.
I'm not
to,
sure when it cuts off technically in terms of like some formal education or not formal, whatever the Montessori. I don't know. Maybe there's Montessori high schools. I don't know.
I think Montessori high school, it's Montessori anymore, in from the spirit, the concept of Montessori learning, right? Montessori learning, it reminds me a whole lot about the movie Accepted,
Yeah.
South
Yeah.
Common Institute of
Yeah.
Technology,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's, I mean, to me, that's where you had fun. That's where we had fun, because in college, right? They kind of let you free. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Think about it. In college, they kind of let you do whatever you want to do.
Kind of.
Kind
They give you some curriculum and then they say you have to take these courses, like, that I don't maybe necessarily like, but they're like, these are the prerequisites for the first 2
right.
years.
But
then
like
they give you a little bit of freedom, like your junior and your senior year, that you can maybe take a few courses. That actually Econ 368, was one of my philosophy and economics class that we talked about, which was ironically one of my favorite classes that I've ever taken in a formal education experience, because there was damn near no curriculum. It was just, here's a topic. What do you all think about it? And then that's it.
memorable and the most interesting part of it, your life, right? And that's because
I remember
you're allowed to follow your interest, whatever interests you want to talk about, whatever you want to say, you say, right? There's not like, oh, you have to write, 250, 100-word essay about, how something affects society, blah blah blah, economic, blah blah blah. Whatever, I don't care about it. Whatever, I just want to talk about fungi, right? Why can't I talk about fungi, right? And so the problem is that we all know, and we all have agreed and accepted that every single one of us is unique. And because of our uniqueness, we have a vast different interests. Therefore, the institution
100%.
that tells you to do a certain way in a massive standardized path isn't aligning. There's a completely misalignment right here. It is a blaring misalignment that is right at your face. So to me, that is the saddest part of our society, is that only a teeny silver of a Montessori for the kid is actually existed today. And even for among the kids, it is a minority.
Right. Oh yeah. I mean, massive minority. I mean, I would say 90, at least in America, 99% of kids go to, formal, like even if you're going to a private school, it's still the same format.
I mean, I would even, be confident in saying, you start your kid out at Head Start, right? It's called brainwashing, right? From Head Start, which is like 3 years old. You start to brainwash them, because you are telling these kids, right? Oh, you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to, man. Oh no, you can't do that. You can't have the cookies. You can't have the marshmallow. You taking them from third, like a 3-year-old, right? A 4-year-old, you go to pre-K, and then kindergarten, 5-year-old, you go, and then up until you get. I mean, I don't think you can even get out of it.
You're teaching them to be able to sit at a cubicle for 8 hours a day. You know what I mean? Be okay with it. Like, I mean, like, that's like, if you actually think about it, like, it's insane what we do. Like, we ship our kids. These are your children. These are your fucking kids. Like, my purpose in life, I would give anything to spend any amount of time with Amelia if I could, all day, every day. And I love spending time with Luca, and I love being around him. Thank God I can work from home these days. But like, think about this concept of, you take your kids, your pride and joy, the things that you probably care the most about in this world if you're a parent, and you ship them off for 9 hours a day, and then you come back home and you can see them for, like, some people only see them for like 30 minutes, maybe. Some people never even see their kids. It just blows my mind how unhuman it is.
I mean,
what you're doing.
We're just machines, robots, or what you want to call that. We're not humans, and it goes against human behavior. You cannot have any joy unless you have the sake of like finding new things. It's exploration in us that makes us humans.
Exactly.
If you
And
do the
doing it with
same
people
thing,
I want to explore with my kids. Like, I want to explore with people that I like. Like, I want to explore with you, and they go through topics like this. Like, I don't want to explore with my coworker that I don't give a shit about, and they don't give a shit about it, and neither one of us want to be in this place because neither one of us give a shit about this place. Like, I'm sure they're
right?
a good person, but like, I don't want to do this with you. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, sometimes you just don't jive, right? When you don't jive, it's no one's fault. It's just that you're just different. You have different interests. You have
right.
different way of accepting, praise and critiques and whatnot. You just have a different way of doing it. And so whoever is sending you the wavelength that is acceptable to you, that's the guy, that's the person that you have more bond with, more wavelength with. And then, it's gonna make you feel more enjoyable just
Meaningful.
because
It's meaningful. Yeah.
and the thing is to think that everybody is treated to be the same way. Well, to me, that's the biggest mistake that we've made. Like I said, I would have wished I was in this kind of environment because I am really that kind of guy. I don't like to, like I said, when I was younger, regardless of what people do, I don't actually look at the crowd for, what they do and follow the crowd. I just do my own thing, regardless whether I look like I can eat it or not. I just do them. I don't like to kind of follow the crowd because for whatever reason, it just, I don't agree with. It's
No,
not that I don't want to
stifles your
agree with. It's
creativity.
just that I just don't agree with because that's the way I was made, right? Whether I'm wrong or not, it doesn't matter. It's just that it
You're
feels
elephant.
like I could not agree with it, so I don't agree with it.
Right.
I would rather be rebellious than to comply, because it would make me feel better to be rebellious than to comply. It makes me feel bad if I comply, right? And it's not like I wanted that. I was made that way. I
I
mean,
agree.
it's not like I choose to have, I decided I would feel better if I be rebellious, and I would.
So I want to make an important timeout point here of we're not saying that you don't need other people. You definitely do. You'll naturally find other people. Like when you're in a Montessori educational system and you like to play with Legos and building castles, somebody else might also have that same interest or whatever, and you
Yeah,
guys
I mean,
make
some
friends.
Legos, and then whoever likes to play Lego gets together and form the Lego group. And somebody
Right.
who likes to play with dirt, well,
For
they're
the dirt
going to
group.
go and dig dirt and make,
Right.
cats out of mud. I mean, the thing is,
We,
who's to tell which one is wrong, which one's right? It's just, hey, I have an interest in here. Whoever has the same interest, come along. That's it.
exactly.
It's the attractions of the commonalities, the attraction of whoever have the similar interest, and they get together and say, hey, okay, because we do enjoy doing these things, right? You both have the same interest, but asking me to go and play Legos if I don't have an interest in Legos, or I don't have any propensity for putting things together, right? If that's that kid, right? How would I be able to fit in? And even if I try to
You're
fit
not.
in,
They give you Ritalin, or they give you something else, and they're like, "Here, you have attention deficit disorder." You're like, "No, I just don't like fucking Legos. Like, I don't have attention. This is not what I want to put."
no, can't. So they give you this drug, or they give you some kind of like a PTSD to against a Lego, so that you don't
Right.
you don't play with Legos too much.
And you're like, "Okay, I guess I'm stupid. I guess I'm just an idiot that that likes
No,
these
it's not.
Legos."
It's not only that you're guessing; they're telling you.
Yep, there's something wrong with you. There's something wrong
Yes.
with you.
See, why are you so dumb, right? They will tell you, and then other kids will actually tell you as well.
Yeah, right.
So like I say, it's not something that you have to even think about.
You're right. Yeah. You know what? This journey that we're on, right? Like, and we're on. I think I wrote this morning. What did I write? To 2:38. This morning I finished reflection two. Shit, where'd it go? This morning I finished reflection 238, right?
Mhm.
And we're on 106 or whatever it is, 107.
107.
If you were to try to recreate this journey, like whatever comes out of the meaningful work club, if you were to literally try to, even back through these books and what we're doing and going back through this journey, I bet you the odds are like 1 in like trillions upon trillions upon trillions of all the books in the world, of all the ideas that could pop into my head and that we could share and to write down and to have go through this conversation together, and then the discussions that came out of it, and then the ideas that ultimately in actions that get driven off of it, it's probably impossible, the smallest possible chance in the world that you could ever recreate this journey. Once this is finished, like you can never recreate this ever, ever again.
And that's the beauty of it, is like every single thing, every single person, like no single person have ever existed in human history has exactly the same DNA combinations as
or lived experiences,
because that's the vast combinations and permutations that nothing can be repeated. Like I say, Steve Jobs cannot be Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs can only be Steve Jobs in that time, the time that he was born. Let's say Steve Jobs was born 1 minute later or 1 minute earlier. It's a different Steve Jobs. It cannot be Steve Jobs again. And that's what I'm saying is I don't care what people are saying. It is never, ever going to be exactly the same. It's always different because a single change, a single differences create a vast result that is completely far away from what you expect.
I mean, if Amelia was still here, I could almost guarantee that we would not be having this conversation.
Exactly.
And I'm not saying that I'm not saying I want to trade that off. I'm not saying that I want her to not be here so I don't have to have this. So I'm, like I don't. It's just two different worlds. I didn't have any say over. I mean, I guess I do. It's a really complicated scenario, and I really struggle even talking about it, to be honest with you, because I don't want to go down this road. But at the same time, it's I could probably guarantee you that we're not talking to each other right now, and my daughter's still here. And I'm not saying that's good or bad. I'm just saying that it's just
It's just stating the fact that there are so many possibilities that even a small change will cause a new, completely different outcome. Just because,
and that's the black swan, right? I mean, like it's know when it's happening, when it's gonna come, when it's not. It's what I call an atomic bomb. It's what I call whatever. I mean, there's a million different things you want to call it, but at the end of the day, you're right. Like everybody's unique. Everybody's learning journey is unique. Like, stop trying to make everybody learn the same way and learn the same shit. Like, let them explore and learn. That's what clubbing is supposed to be about. To be fair to this whole conversation, I know we've been ranting a little bit about this whole entire thing. Like, we do have a solution that we're trying to work toward. Just so everybody's clear, we're not just up here. We are trying to solve this problem where we can give people the opportunity to do meaningful work and to build meaningful relationships with other people, living their values together, and what we like to call clubbing. And we're trying to do all this together to create like a Montessori workplace, basically, where you don't have a job. You get hired and you get a scholarship and you get to go just explore and go do what you want to do. And whatever you start to create, you'll naturally bounce around in this little clubbing culture universe, and you might end up connecting with the dude that loves Legos, and you're like, oh my God, True, you love Legos? I love Legos. Like, this is crazy. I've been learning about Legos for the past year and a half, and I thought I was nuts, but like, it turns out True loves Legos too. Like, like, what can we do together? Like, and that's when the meaningful work then becomes a commerce product that you can do. Like, people underestimate so much. Like, I mean, think about me right now at Salesforce. Think about all the stuff that we're doing. Think about how underutilized I am there. I'm saying that there's so much more that I am capable of contributing toward any organization or any group that I want to belong to if I want to be there. That's the problem. It's not that I'm trying to quit my job or something along those lines, but I don't want to do that. That's not what I want to do. What I want to do is, like you said, is I want to go play Legos or whatever. Maybe I want to go read 200 plus books and write reflections about it and try to help other people, encourage them to take their own journey and figure out their own thing. And not only that, cherry on top of my rant would be, I don't even want people to do the same journey that I'm on. Like, I don't care if you try to recreate your magical learning when this thing's all over. I don't want you to do that. Like, I don't at all. I mean, I want you to go do your own thing. And that may be something completely, I don't want it to be the same thing that I'm doing, like, or that we're doing. Like, I don't want that. That's not the goal of this. The goal of it is just to spark a thought in your head, and you go do whatever you go do with that thought and go explore whatever you want to go explore with that thought. Like, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, only you will know what is enjoyable for you. So it cannot be somebody else's journey for you to enjoy it. You have to follow your interest, whatever the interest is. Because like I say, I didn't choose it. I didn't choose to say, hey, make me feel better to be rebellious against the things I disagree with. And why do I disagree with it? I don't know why. It just makes me mad when I was told to do things. It's not like I disagree with them at every single thing, right? But most of what they do, I disagree with because my brain is processing things different, right? And for whatever reason, those thoughts, when they enter my head, the way I process it, I disagree with. And when I disagree with, if I were to do the things I disagree with, I have a very icky feeling that is not fun or not.
Disgust.
It's a feeling of I don't want that feeling anymore. I didn't choose a feeling, and I didn't choose to disagree. I just do disagree because I was processed, my brain processed information in a certain way, and I just disagree. And
Right.
that's just a fact that no matter what I do to cover it up, it's not gonna go away. Right. And
Right.
so if I continue to pressure it down and to continue to put a lid on it, eventually it's gonna explode just because it's so much pressure. So for so long, eventually it's going to explode, or it's going to make me implode, and I become this depressed person,
Right.
or
And
this
then you get a
cycle.
benzo. Yeah.
I either get depressed, or I become postal, right?
Right.
It's-
Or you get a Valium or a benzo or an Xanax or something. You go to the doctor and that's where they're like, well, here you
what
go.
even,
Let's
I
mellow
mean,
you out. Like
I mean,
just
I mean, the
docile
thing
you.
is, I mean, ask you this question then. Even if you get these Xanax, or this whatever pill that they give you, okay, what happened afterward?
All you do is just tolerate the
That's my
environment just
point.
a
It's
little
not
less
like it's not
better,
like
a
the
little
pill
more better.
fixes any. That
Right. No.
person is still depressed, and then
Right.
whenever the medicine it wears off, or you need more, then it just you're just in a worse place than before.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean,
Right. And so
it doesn't
like I
solve
say,
anything.
the solutions to these pills is not even a fix. It actually makes it worse.
From having emotions that are saying, hey, address this, think about this, like explore this, like instead we go, oh my God, I have emotions, like get it to go away, like like go away, go away, go away. And you're like, no,
Yes.
like when you have them
On these
push
pills,
forward.
right? They don't actually recover. And when they lapse, right, they are so depressed that more of these people that is on these drugs are more likely to commit suicide.
Yeah. I mean,
So
because
it's
it feels like
you're
there's no
not
way
it's not
out,
fixing it. It's just delaying the fact, just pushing the pressure until one day when you slip up and medicine doesn't work no more, or you get numb by the medications, right? Then whenever you wake up from it, then you're in a much worse place, and this is when it's a no turning back kind of event.
Right. It's sad. I mean, it really is sad. And I want to fix it, and you want to fix it, and we want to fix it. Like we want to build a Montessori workplace, and we want to make other people, not make other people. We want to give other people the opportunity to do what we're doing and to do it together, and to build a culture around people being 90% chimps and 10% bees. Like, like we want you to be your full unique self, or 90% of your full unique self, because one of the other human superpowers that we have is our ability to connect and to work together, right? I mean, you still need that environment, and that is important, so fully embrace being a human, basically an environment where you can fully embrace being yourself.
Balance, right? It has to be a balance, because you have both, the best of both worlds, right? You can be individual and you can work together, right? That's the power, the superpower of being a human. And people, now they are wanting everybody to be like bees, right? So you're giving away your individuality and your self-interest for the common good of the whole group, right? So it has both some pros and cons, but if you have the balance, you get the best of both worlds. And why wouldn't you want the best of both worlds? You have to have your individual interest, but also have the community as well, not just one or the other. Why do we have to choose between be a loner or being with a community, right? It's not the extremes. You don't go to the extremes.
It's both.
You go back to having
Be
the
a
right
human.
balance.
Right. Yeah. Be a balanced human being. I
Right.
couldn't agree more. Awesome. Well, that was a fun topic. I mean, I don't know if you have any other final thoughts on it, but I feel like I'm purged.
Yeah.
So the question that we can leave for everybody is, when was the last time that you learned something because you wanted to, not because somebody else told you to learn it, or because it was an assignment? Just the question is, when was the last time you learned something just because you wanted to, and why did you stop?
And don't make excuses. When I retire, I'm gonna do this. When I retire, I'm gonna do that, because that's a lame excuse.
Right. You can do it now. You can do it all, and you can have fun. So get out there and enjoy your life. Be a free range adult, and have some fun.
Yeah.
Let us know if you want a scholarship. Because we're paying people $80,000 a year to join our Montessori workplace. So it's not only a place where you can be yourself, but you actually get paid for it too.
Easy to get in.
No, you got to read 200 plus books and produce a podcast, and we'll give you the lesson for each book. And if you don't get it right, then you're out. No, I'm kidding. Awesome. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Sounds good.